you ever get the feeling you're being judged, but can't quite put your finger on why? Newsflash, you are. Women notice everything. Not just the obvious stuff like your job or your hairline. They're clocking things you haven't even thought about since middle school. And no, they're not going to tell you. Instead, they'll silently build a mental file on you, item by item. While you're still wondering if you've got spinach in your teeth, here are 10 things women secretly notice about you, even if they'll never admit it out loud. 1. Your shoes. Let's kick things off with a classic. You thought you were safe because you don't own clown shoes. Think again. Women notice your shoes. Not the price tag or brand, but whether they look like you've ever heard of soap and water. You could have the perfect haircut, a jawline chiseled by the gods and arms that scream, I lift heavy things. But if your shoes looked like they were recovered from a swamp, she's already knocked you down a few points. We're not talking about fashion sense here. She's not out here demanding Italian leather, but scuffed, stained, or moldy-looking sneakers. That's a red flag. She's not thinking he must have been really busy. She's thinking if he can't handle shoes, what hope is there for the rest of his life? And if you think she's not looking, remember, she checked out your shoes before she even noticed your eyes. You've been scammed and scored. 2. The way you treat strangers. Most guys think women only care about how you treat them. Wrong. She's watching you like a hawk when you're dealing with the barista, the waiter, the Uber driver, heck, even the annoying dude giving out free Wi-Fi flyers. If you're snappy, dismissive, or suddenly transform into Lord of the Douchebags. The second, someone makes a mistake, she clocks it immediately. You could be the smoothest talker alive, but if you snap at the drive-thru guy because he forgot your fries, you just failed her silent decency test. On the flip side, a simple thank you, a smile, or God forbid, some patience when your coffee order goes sideways. She'll notice that too. She's not just thinking about how you treat her. She's doing long-term risk assessment. If you can't muster basic kindness for strangers, how long before she ends up on the receiving end of your cranky, caffeine-deprived wrath? You won't get called out for this. She won't mention it, but the next time, you wonder why the vibe cooled after your restaurant meltdown? Now you know. 3. Your fingernails. Gentlemen, let's talk about something you probably haven't considered since kindergarten: your fingernails. You could walk in with a fresh fade and the world's cleanest sneakers, but if your nails look like you just finished a day of competitive grave digging, you're doomed. She'll never say it, but the second she clocks those claws, she's imagining all sorts of horror stories, none of them PG-rated dirt. Chewed down stubs, the kind of cuticles that make dermatologists shudder. She's picturing what those hands will feel like anywhere near her. Spoiler, it's not good. The irony is, you could pass every other test, but one glance at your hands and suddenly she's got a headache. Want to see a woman's face go from flirty to, I just remembered I left the stove on. Show her a gnarly thumbnail mid-date. It's not about being pretty, it's about being not disgusting. But don't expect a warning. You'll just quietly never get a second chance. 4. How you react to losing. Think women aren't sizing you up during game night. Think again, you could be playing Monopoly, Mario Kart, darts at the bar. It doesn't matter. She's watching what happens when the game doesn't go your way. Are you the guy who laughs it off? Or do you act like you just lost the NBA Finals and the refs are out to get you if you soak wine or start blaming lag? She's already wondering how you handle life when it's not going your way. Here's the real kicker. She's not looking for a winner. She's watching for a grown-up. If you lose your cool over a $5 bet, how are you going to handle real life when stuff hits the fan? And yes, she's taking mental notes. You'll never hear about it. She's just quietly revising your score every time you rage. Quit Mario Party. Remember, there's nothing sexier than a man who can lose without turning into a toddler. 5. The friends you keep. You thought this was just about you? Nope, she's checking out your crew too. If your friend group is made up entirely of guys who look like they just escaped from a failed YouTube prank channel, she's not thinking how fun. She's thinking, is this my future Saturday night? Am I going to be the only adult in this relationship? Women know your friends are a preview of your judgment, your hobbies, and, let's be real, your likely maturity level. If your main wingman still wears cargo shorts, ironically, and thinks fart jokes are the peak of human achievement, she's going to question your taste. This doesn't mean you need a crew of saints. But if your best friend's nickname is Dumpster Fire Dave, and you let him make your decisions, she's already picturing her own exit strategy. She'll smile, she'll laugh at your inside jokes. But you better believe she's keeping score. And no, she won't say a word about it until she disappears. 6. Your laugh. Let's get real for a second. You think you're killing it with that deep, mysterious, brooding look. But women are listening for your laugh, not how cool it sounds, but how real it is. If you're the guy who only lets out a polite chuckle at parties, she's clocking that. If you belly laugh like you're auditioning for a sitcom soundboard, she's clocking that too. But here's the deal breaker. Fake laughs, nervous giggles, or the dreaded I'm dead inside half laugh. Nothing kills her interest faster. She's not looking for the next stand-up comic. She's listening for the kind of laugh that makes her want to join in, even if the joke was terrible. Especially if the joke was terrible. And don't forget, if you're the guy who can laugh at himself, you just jumped a few levels. If you're the guy who gets mad when she laughs at you, well, enjoy your solo Uber ride home. 7. How you smell at the end of the day. Here's one you probably didn't see coming. Sure, every guy knows about cologne deodorant, the fresh out of the shower routine. But what about your real scent when all the spray fades? Women notice if you smell like a pile of gym socks left in a sauna. She's never coming closer. If you've got that subtle, clean, maybe a little musky end-of-day smell, it's game on. Don't ask her to explain it. She couldn't if she tried. Some guys just have it, others. Well, you know who you are? Here's the cruel twist: she might even miss your scent when you're gone. But you'll never hear about it. If she starts leaning in closer just to hug, congratulations. If she starts offering you gum and mints by the handful, maybe rethink that 3-day-old t-shirt. 8. How you handle annoyances. Traffic, slow internet, a wrong coffee order, tiny things that trigger some guys into a meltdown. Women watch for this like it's their own private reality show. You mutter a curse at your laptop, pound the steering wheel, or go on a 3-minute rant. Because your latte has almond instead of oat milk. She's watching every second. It's not about toxic positivity. She doesn't want a monk. But if every minor inconvenience sends you spiraling, she's going to picture future arguments about IKEA, furniture, and panic flipside. If you handle annoyances with a shrug, a joke, or even just a dramatic sigh, you get points for being a grown-up. Bonus if you can turn it into a laugh. Or at least, avoid blaming the barista for the downfall of Western civilization. 9. Your taste in music or podcasts. You might think nobody cares what you play in the car wrong. The second she gets in and the speakers kick on, she's judging you faster than Spotify's algorithm. You blast Nickelback, she's making a mental note. True crime podcasts, back-to-back. She's wondering if you're auditioning for Dateline. On the other hand, if your playlist is all over the map, bit of jazz, some old-school rap, a power ballad for no reason, she'll remember even if she claims she doesn't care. She's secretly scoring your taste. One pro tip, okay. Not a tip, just reality. If you let her play DJ and actually listen, you've won her over more than you'll ever know. If you fight her for the aux chord like it's a custody battle, you're on thin ice. 10. The way you listen or don't. You're at dinner, she's telling a story and you're nodding along. She is paying attention not to your words, but to whether you're actually present, or just mentally drafting your fantasy football lineup. She'll test you later. Did you hear what I said about my dog? If you remember her story, her dog's name, or even the color of her first car, she'll be quietly impressed. But if you zone out, glance at your phone, or give her that blank, remind me again, look. It's game over. Women don't need you to be a therapist. But if you can't keep up with the basics, she's already writing you out of season 2. So next time you wonder what women really notice, remember it's not just your biceps or bank account. It's your shoes, your friends, the way you laugh and how you act when nobody's watching. Think you've been scammed and found wanting? Don't worry, we all have. Want more no BS breakdowns? Hit the comments with the wildest thing a woman ever called you out for. And stick around, there's always more going on than you think. Baby, 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 baby.